Thank you so much again for joining us. You're welcome to the panel session of the TIP annual conference. And this is a panel session, and we're having three amazing men at this panel session. You've been wondering, you've been following this whole session. You agree with me that it's been amazing back to back. If you have not followed, please, the links for replay will be available for you to take on as we continue. Just know that this whole session, the whole idea is actually for you to implement. We're looking at how you would implement, okay? And much more than that, we're looking at implementation. So Dozie and I are still back here on the moderation panel. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. And very soon we'll be welcoming all of our panelists, three amazing gentlemen, Uncle Sele, Mr. Ojobo, and Uncle David Falarami. We're going to have an amazing panel session, so prepare. This is going to be discussion, and if you are already here with me, I'd like for us to interact in the comment section. We're going to just be having some sort of chat around Daddy is Destiny. Don't forget the theme, Daddy is Destiny. How can we begin to model the destiny of our sons and the destiny of our nations, the destiny of the entire continent? Okay. I remember that movie Merlin, and the soundtrack or the intro we say, in a land of myth and in a time of magic, the destiny of a great nation lies in the hands of a young boy, and then his name is. So today, the destiny of a great generation lies on the shoulders of men, lies on the shoulders of daddies. And so that's what we are about to discuss now. We're going to take the intros for all of our panelists, the three of them, and then we'll come back here to get into the session properly.
Ojobo.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Okwofoni Teletumo, popularly known as Uncle Sele, is a values and character coach for children. He is also an associate lecturer with the Institute of Student Affairs Management and Institute for Family Protection. His purpose is to build and frame the minds of the upcoming generation to make the right decisions based on values. He's the founder of an online school for values, character, and child mentoring called Trees and Pillars. He runs courses like Becoming, a values class, Boys Arena, a coaching for boys, Princess Court, a coaching for girls. He's also a storyteller on his podcast called Bedtime Stories for Children with over 2,900 plays in 50 countries. He also has a song on YouTube called The Values Anthem, A to Z of Values, which was launched on the 27th of May 2021. He also wrote the I Am Special quote for children against special abuse. Every year, the Uncle Select Foundation runs different intervention programs for children like Rebirth for Children in the Special Correctional Center for Boys and Girls, Christmas Memories for Less Privileged Children, Children's Day Party, and games. He served as a soldier in the Nigerian Army for 13 years. He has worked and volunteered with several NGOs like Emprotech Nigeria Foundation, CS Dawn, Safe School Africa, Feed a Child, Clothe a Child, Heritage Children Foundation, and Ceci Yara Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to the TIP Fathers Conference 2022, Uncle Sele.
All right.
Ojobo is an entrepreneur who uses his skills and knowledge.
We have one more profile to color.
Ojobo is an entrepreneur who uses his skills.
I think that should be David Folarami's profile.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
let's go on until the media is able to put that together.
Okay, okay. All right, everybody, welcome back to the conversation. So it's our panel session, and I believe that my panelists are here, ready and live to join us. So I'm just going to put them up stage, but I can't see you throwing your fire emojis in the comment section. Let me be sure that you are ready, ready, and then we are starting the. Okay, are we going to take that intro now?
David Folara.
Awesome.
I think they're having a bit of an issue.
Ojobo is an entrepreneur who uses his skills. David Folarami. David Folarami is a Christian and a fervent lover of Jesus Christ. The recipient of several awards at home and abroad, David is a qualified economist, a public speaker, a writer, and a certified counselor with specialty in addiction and substance abuse recovery. Master's degree in applied social psychology also in view. David earned his economics degree over a decade ago from Covenant University and a postgraduate diploma in international management from Brunel University, United Kingdom. David is a seasoned public servant, but his interest lies within counseling, psychology, mental health issues, understanding behavioral patterns, addiction counseling, and rehabilitation, with an aim to provide better life for youth and young adults. He is a strong advocate for drug abuse awareness and drug use policy reforms. He is a member of Association of Advocates Against Alcohol Harm in Nigeria, ASAN, and Community Intervention Network on Drugs, CIND. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to the TIP Fathers Conference 2022, David Folarami.
Okay. So finally, we are here. All right, and the panel is ready to have its discussion now. Let's welcome our panelists. Let me see you if you're clapping in the comment section or you're putting your fire emojis. Let us welcome our panelists. Good morning,
Good
sirs.
morning. Good morning, Jose.
Good
Coach
morning.
Wendy.
Good morning, sir.
Jose,
Uncle
I greet
Sarah,
you
good
specially.
morning.
Thank you very
Coach
much.
Wendy, Dossier,
Good to have you
morning.
on this call. Okay, I've just been informed that Uncle David will be joining us before we round up. He's going to pretty much maybe run late, but let's get on with it. So, welcome, sir. Good to have you on the show. Um,
Thank you.
we have seen your profiles and all of that. And by way of opening this panel, you are a soldier, Uncle Sele, and all right. And then we have a consultant in the building, uh, Mr. Ojobo, the host of Ideal Man Initiative. All right, so I want to take you both up on your backgrounds. You know,
Okay.
your background in the military, your background in the business world. How has this prepared you for what's the experience like in terms of how you merge and interact with fathers? Okay, what are your experiences as a soldier, for instance? You know, in the military, you have fathers there, and I'm wondering, how they flog their children, they beat their children, they treat their children, and all of these things. All right, so take
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jose. Ojoba, it's nice meeting you. Okay. So,
Nice seeing Uncle Sela.
as a soldier, trust me, it's discipline, and our own kind of discipline is flogging. We call it wazing. Do you get?
Wow.
So, yes, that's how fathers, as soldiers, that's how they behave. My dad was in the customs, and he used to flog me, and there was this fear. You just hear that
Mm,
daddy is coming, just run and all those things you get. So, but I think growing up, there was something I saw, and I said to myself, I said, no, this not it. Do you get? Even as a
yeah.
soldier, a friend of a whole lot of friends saw me, and even soldier friends, you see, Stella, you don't act like a soldier, and I'm like, well, I'm still a soldier, even if you think I don't act like a soldier, and I
Mm,
think I can be a different soldier.
yeah.
Do you understand? I can be a soldier with a difference. Do you
Mm,
understand? So even as a soldier, I used to speak to kids. I just see children misbehaving, and I like, hey, come here. No, they will respect me because, yeah, is this the soldier that is speaking? But what I'm saying to them is, not in the way that a soldier will talk to them. So I will say things
mm,
like, "What are you doing? Do you understand?" My voice is also different from the normal soldier's own. So apart from when we are, giving word of command for parades and all those things, when I'm talking to children, I'm very, very different. It feels like a different spirit just comes upon me, and I'm talking to
mm.
children differently, and they're like, Oga Sele has come, or do you get listen to him and all that. So I was
Yeah.
very, very different as a soldier. Trust me.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, I had a bit of an experience. I went to an Air Force secondary school. So
Oh,
when they tell you that one sergeant is coming, you just have to double up and arrange yourself, and put yourselves together. But that's
of
fine.
course.
Mr. Jobo, from
How you
the
doing?
business world, fathers are always talking about their business, one meeting, one appointment here, one travel to do, and all of that. Tell us about that and fatherhood.
So, about men and business, at least as someone who is also in business and all, I think to a very large extent, one of the roles and key responsibilities that over the years as a society we've created for fathers is that they need to bring in the box. Do you understand? They need to bring in the box. So it's you can't really wonder why that's something that's really really top on the mind of many fathers. So not even if you're just in business, maybe you're a career professional and all that. Am I getting the box in? Am I getting the box in? And then over the years, what we've seen is that slowly and unconsciously, priority is then given to this. So when you ask a father, are you responsible for your family? Am I bringing in money at the end of
Mm,
the month? Will I be able to pay their school fees?
school
Will my
fees.
children and my wife eat? I'm doing that. Okay, good. Then I'm paying attention to my responsibilities. So looking at it from that business side, that is something that's top on the mind of many men, on the mind of many
Mm,
men, and
mm,
that's little wonder why when a man is not able to fulfill those responsibilities, we've seen many
mm,
cases in the world where the man commits suicide, where the man distances himself from the people he loves and from his family and all that. So that's the reality of what we're seeing.
Awesome, awesome. Very, very, very true. I'll come back to you on this thought because I just made a note. We were having a conversation a few days ago. So I'll come back
Yes.
to you on this particular
Okay.
thought. Uncle David is in the building. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Welcome to the
Good,
conversation. Good to have you.
David,
good morning. Good morning.
Mr.
How are you?
A.
How is everybody? Good morning.
Very
How are you
well.
doing?
Very
It's
well.
funny. It's funny how I listened to every word Coach Ebuka said, and when it was time for me to come on, the network just went bad. And then I don't know. It was perfect. I was there yesterday. I was there all morning, and as soon as it was my turn to come up, my network just went bad. But I'm happy. I'm available now to join
You're
you guys in the
welcome.
conversation.
You're welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
So I was talking to Okosele, Mr. Ojobo about their backgrounds and their professional backgrounds. I mean, Okosele is a soldier, Mr.
Okay.
Ojobo is in business
Oh
world.
wow.
I understand you are in public service. And so I'm trying to look at these
Yes.
different perspectives and how it bears
Okay.
on fatherhood and our relationship between fathers and children. You want to
Oh,
tell us about the
excellent.
public service perspective?
Okay. From the perspective of a public servant, which I have been for almost 10 years now, I think we have, in Nigeria here, we have a greater opportunity to relate with our children because of how the public service sphere is configured. Uh, for instance, Abuja. I came into Abuja yesterday to be with my wife and daughter. I'm able to afford this opportunity because I work with the public service. Now, if you're in the private sector, for instance, you're a banker, you might not be able to just up and leave and say you want to spend time with your family. But now the onus is on you as a father to take up this responsibility, to make the most of this opportunity and create or enjoy the time you have. The public service time offers you so you can spend with your family. So I think it's a lot easier. I really do believe personally that it's a lot easier in the public service to be able to spend more time with your family. I was in a conference a few weeks back, 3 weeks back, a family life conference, and one of the speakers there, who is an executive with one of the top brands in Nigeria, was telling us how he doesn't have the time. Like he tries so hard to create time to spend with his family, but it just wouldn't work because he's always on one trip, one board meeting, one Zoom meeting, one this one that one or the other. We don't have all that. We don't have all that problem in the public sector. So we do have that time. And then once you are intentional about spending time with your parents, with your family, then the public sector affords you that chance.
Okay, it boils down to intentionality because some persons have that time
Mm.
and they're still not there. Okay.
Exactly.
And I was talking to Coach Wendy, that was yesterday, about the inner circle and how fathers are playing and being available to learn for their children and all of that. Let's talk a little bit about, there is this notion that uh, let's talk about negligence. Fathers being negligent about parenting. What do you think? First of all, let's define what it means for a father to be negligent in the family, for a father to be a neglectful father. What does it mean? Let me hear from us define negligence, and then we can begin to talk about whether that impression is true, how true or false it is. Uncle Sele, let me take you on first.
Okay. One, our fathers negligent in their responsibilities, as parents. Yes, that's one. Then, what does it mean when you say a father is negligent? So it means that one, there's this thing you're supposed to do and you're not doing it. Simple terms. Do you understand?
Mm,
So
mm,
I'm supposed to take care of my children. I'm supposed to take care of my wife. I'm supposed to spend time with them. But are you doing it? That's the question. So for me, I would say no. Like Ojomo said something. You get there's this perspective where once the father just brings the money, it is assumed
yeah,
that he has finished his work.
yeah.
And I think that is one of the things that's put us where we are today. Because I always say this: parenting is not about money, or being rich is not parenting.
Mm.
Do you understand? Being rich, having the money, having everything is not parenting. That's not the totality of it. Because you are the father, you still need to set, the spiritual direction for your home. You still need to set the vision for your home. You still need to spend time with your kids. You still need to talk to them about their friends. But the truth is, are we doing those things? Are fathers being good models? Are they being good mentors? Do you understand? Like Mr. David said something. He said him in the public sector, he has the time. So you have a bank executive who is saying that he does not have the time, but money is coming. But does that mean he's not being negligent in parenting? He is. Because if anything happens to his children, trust me, work will stop. That's the truth.
True.
If anything
True.
happens to your child, you say that you are busy, you are flying everywhere, you would say to your people, look, I can't move today. I need to attend to this issue at home. Do you understand? So the question is, are fathers negligent? Yes, please. They are. That's it for me.
Wow. 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 It reminds me of the fact, and when you mention about moving on, you know that even when the father himself is the one that now dies, the businesses, all the meetings will continue. The people that find it the most difficult to move on is the family and the children. Very, very
Yeah.
important point here. Let me go to Uncle David. Talk about fathers being negligent.
Okay, thank you. Talking about fathers being negligent and providing an answer to that question, I'll also say yes. I'll take a leaf from the notebook of Uncle Sele, and I'll say yes. Now, to be negligent as a father means to be uninvolved, or to be or not to be responsive to the needs of your children or your family. As a father, you should provide. As a father, you should protect. And yesterday, from the opening session, we learned from Pastor Wisdom Osiri that as a father, you should sustain. Now,
Mm.
if you're lacking in any of these points, then you are being negligent. If you're not protecting, if you're not providing leadership, if you're not sustaining what you have created, then you're being negligent. I think fatherhood is a responsibility, and your commitment to that responsibility is what makes you a great father. It's what makes you a present father. Now, I think Pastor Wisdom also said yesterday that you can be at home but be an absent father. So,
Very true.
being neglecting your responsibilities doesn't necessarily mean that, like Coach Ojobo said, you're providing all of the money, you are around, but are you actually meeting the needs of those you are called to father? Are you actually protecting? Are you actually providing for, providing leadership, providing security, providing spiritual guidance? Are you actually sustaining that which God has put in your hands? So
Mm.
I think the answer to this question is, so far from what I've seen, yes, fathers have been very negligent in their responsibilities as parents.
Wow, wow. Okay. Coach Ojobo just left the stage. I'm hoping that I can bring him back on pretty soon, so that the house will be full again. But you drew my attention back to yesterday's session talking about source and sustainer. I even think that a lot of men are hung up on the concepts of sustenance from a physical point of view. Sustenance, providing money, sustaining the home, more like in the financial terms. But my question to us this morning: can we talk a little bit about the other side of the conversation, the source side? Fathers being the source of the family system, the source, the leadership, and all of that. Let's throw some more light on that part of the conversation. Source and sustainer. I think men understand sustainer by finance, even though it's not limited alone to financial provision. We're going to get into that. But let's talk a little about source. What does it mean for father to be source? Because we're discussing destiny here. Daddy is destiny. So back to you, Uncle Sele.
Okay, so now there's this thing I call the life transfers. Do you understand?
Mm,
We always say this: everything starts from the home. Everything starts from the home. So you see, there's this what I call the life transfer. So I always say that your as a father, you will transfer. You have the spiritual transfer. So your children will, you must transfer God. You must, your children must know about God from you. Do you understand? Your children must also understand, self identity. They must know
Okay.
about themselves. Do you understand?
Mm.
How does a child just grow up and just enter into the society without knowing who he is? So you see, as a father, you are the one who is talking to your children about identity. Do you understand? You also transfer values. You also transfer values. Yes, I'm saying this one because this is my area. That's why we talk about the family values, and you are saying that look, this in our family, these are our values and everything. You will also transfer, because values will determine the kind of decisions your children make. So you see, you will talk to them about that. Then you also talk about the wealth and value exchange, transfer. As your children grow older, apart from the money you are making, you're also teaching your children that look, when you get into the world, you will create value. But this is how it is being done. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? We have a lot of children now who go into different things because nothing was transferred to them. And
Yeah.
that, do you understand? That part of
Yeah.
is going to be part of the child's life. So it cannot be empty. Something will fill it up. Do you understand? Coach
Yeah.
Wendy was talking about the fact that when your child gets to 10, you are fourth because
Mm.
other people will come in.
Mm.
But you see, when you have passed, you have transferred some basic things, your child will grow up remembering your words. This is
Mm.
something my daddy said to me about wealth transfer. I go to school because I am going to become this, and that's where you also begin to talk about the skill and everything. It is from the dad. You will begin to see all those things, and you begin to nurture those things. You also have human relation transfer. Look, my child, as you are growing older, you are going to relate with other people. This is how you relate with them. Then we also talk about the entertainment and fun transfer. Oh, people are having fun dancing, watching TV. My daughter, my son, when you are here, these are the kind of things you do. My daughter loves TV, and I always say this to her. Look, the TV is not running away. The TV is yours. It's not even mine. When it's time for TV, when you sit down, you watch. You have your time. These are the kind of things you can also watch. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
apart from providing money, these are the necessary things I believe that you must also transfer. Fathers must transfer to their children. Do you understand? Your child begins to understand self-worth from how you relate with them. Do you understand? They begin to understand their self-confidence from how fathers relate with them. Do you understand? That's another reason why I don't know. I know we all remember the story of the prodigal son. Kechubu Ebuka said something like that. When he left, the reason why he knew he could come back was the environment, the atmosphere of his home, of the father's house, and he said to
Mm.
himself, "Let me even go home. Let me go home," because he understands that daddy will love me. And
Yeah.
as he was coming, daddy ran to him.
Yeah.
Love. Do you understand? Daddy ran
Yeah.
to him, daddy covered him. There's something called the cloth of love. Do you understand? Apart from money, you're sustaining your child because as your child grows older, your child is trying to understand how do I function in the world. But when you now begin to transfer all those things, when it's time to make decisions, it is very easy because they can relate to what daddy has said, what daddy has transferred to me in the home, the atmosphere that has been created. Do you
Mm.
understand? Because all these things matter. Can my children
True.
just sit down at home and just be relaxed? Or they're itching to say, man, I can't stay here because there's always tension.
Tension in the home.
Sustenance. You're sustaining your child because apart when your child is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 10. Your child is going to relate to other children. What will your child say when he's with teenagers? Those things are very necessary. So those
Mm.
transfers are things that fathers must do apart from just bring the money is there. There are times I want to pay people and I call my daughters and I say to them, I say to them, count this money. And they're counting the money and I say, oh, daddy, why are we counting this money? And I'm teaching them and I'm telling them that look, someone worked, and the person provided value. So we are paying this person for for what she did. Oh, really? So I'm saying that it's a teachable moment. I'm saying that so you know that in life you don't beg, you don't steal. This is how you make money. You create
True.
value. Do you
True.
understand? So,
True.
Daddy, how can we create value? Discussion has
Also.
started. Do you
Also.
understand? Those are
Yeah.
things that fathers do. Those are things that we ought to do as fathers. They don't just go outside and next they see somebody doing Yahoo Yahoo and say, this is how to make money. Hey, before you know what's happening, everything in his mind is like, man, I want to be like this guy. I want to be like this other person. This is how he has made money. But it's because there's this vacuum that was not filled by daddy. Do you understand? And we are
Mm,
strong figures. We are strong
mm,
figures. As fathers, we are very, very strong figures. Our words are very, very powerful. There's something I call the father's voice. Very powerful. When we say things, those words stay.
stay.
They stay. Do you understand? So that's how fathers sustain their children. Thank you.
Father's voice is very strong. Father's voice is very, very strong. I thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And that the difference between the value that we build in children and the value we teach them to create. Very, very powerful. I'm hoping that Uncle David, Mr. Jobo, you're welcome back to the show. Welcome. And Uncle David,
Sure.
I'm going to come to your table. Maybe you have some response to what Uncle Sele has just said. But what I want you to talk about is you have experience with, delinquent young people doing drugs, different forms of addiction. You also have a story. Talk about it from that perspective. Why are our young people getting into all manners of delinquency apart from just drugs? But the biggest of them we see drugs, of course, sexual immorality and perversions and things like that. And the role about father being, daddy is destiny. How can we begin to redeem this destiny? But what is the problem there?
Okay. So why
That
do
question was
people
actually for
involve?
Uncle David.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
it
oh
was.
my God! I'm
I'll come
sorry.
back to you, sir.
Okay.
This.
Thank.
I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, Uncle David, can you hear me?
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, although it's been breaking a lot, but I think I picked the major points you were trying to speak to me about.
Mm,
What is the issue with our young ones getting involved with drug use, addiction, and other social vices, and how
mm.
does it relate to our fathers being absent? Am I correct? Is that what you asked me to talk about?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes, that's what he said.
Okay, okay. I didn't get a response, so I don't even know if I'm being heard over there. So
We can
Yes,
hear
we
it's
you.
very
can
We can
hear
well
hear
with
you.
the
you.
network.
We can hear you.
That's a very, very, very dis
Okay, it's frozen.
It's
young ones
freezing.
who get into addiction. Uh, can you hear me, Coach Ede?
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
Coach Dozier, can you hear me?
yes. We can hear you.
we can hear you. We can hear you.
We can hear
Do
you.
a
Go ahead.
sign for him. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Do a
Oh,
sign if you can
okay.
hear.
Okay. Excellent. So I'll just also continue from where Coach Ebuka spoke about modeling patterns from our fathers to our sons. There's been a survey, and it's been found out that addiction can actually be passed from one generation to the other. And when Coach Ebuka was talking today, if you could see my notes, you see that he was just saying some of the things I have actually jotted down. You talk about our youth today getting very involved in drugs. It's estimated that 20 million youths or thereabouts abuse marijuana
Wow.
Wow.
Um. Okay. Let's see if Kochebuka comes back. Sorry, Coach David. Rather, let's see if Coach David comes back. He was talking about the issue of drug abuse, and that number is scary. 20 million Nigerian youths hooked up on drugs.
That's really
You know,
scary.
oh, I can imagine that we're going into an election period, and that's about the number of people you need to win an election in Nigeria, going from history. And you can imagine that whole number hooked on drugs. you know, it's very scary.
It's really scary. It's really scary. It's really scary. The truth is, I always say something.
Mm,
I say things like, there's something I call the agile parenting. Let me explain it briefly
okay.
before Mr. David comes back. The agile parenting, where um, my own children, I teach them something. I transfer values. Do you understand?
Mm,
Your
mm,
own children, um, now they meet in the society, and what happens is what I have taught them is what they will show forth. Do you understand?
mm.
So you see that our job, we contribute money, but in parenting we contribute, training, we contribute values to our kids. So when they meet, it is what we have transferred to them that is expressed in the society. Do you understand? So at
Yeah.
that point, you will now find out that okay, you didn't teach your child well, or you didn't transfer properly. There is a conflict.
Mm,
There's a conflict. Then you now begin to have things like peer pressure because this person has learned that yeah, man, I can smoke and I need this other person to join me in smoking. This other person has not been taught. Do you understand? That person joins. My own child comes and says no. Do you understand? So there's always an
very
agenda
true.
of parenting. There's always an agenda of parenting in the society. So that's where you begin to have conflict. Hey, this one did this one did that. Then you can see the where there's peer pressure, where you see that there's this bulk or large number of teenagers or children that imbibe vices coming out to spread. They're spreading their reach, hoping to get
Mm,
more people. Do you
of
understand?
course.
Then you
Of
begin to
course.
see that, oh, this our jaw is getting bigger. This our society is now getting bigger. Do
The
you
network
understand? So you
marketing.
see, down exactly network marketing. Do you understand? It's getting bigger. You
Yeah.
now have a large number of people trying to do things like Yahoo Yahoo, trying to do things like wants to engage in porn, or wants to engage in money rituals and things like that, because they are reaching out. They are reaching out. And, as fathers, we are seeing these things and we are not taking action. We're not saying, hey, come back here. This is what you stop, you're doing is wrong. Do you understand? Before we used to say it takes a village to raise a child. Now it's not like that anymore. Because when you speak to a child, before you know what's happening, there's the backlash. Do you understand? So you see, we have a lot of people, you have a lot of teenagers, children doing the wrong things because of a culture of silence, mostly among fathers. We are keeping quiet. All we are doing is probably saying,
Mm,
hey, this our country done the bad oh. See small children. But you see, we are not taking the right action. All we are doing is, oh, have you seen this video? Have you seen this thing? Can you
complain.
imagine what happened in Dubai? Can you imagine? Well, we're not saying that the things that we are ignoring, the things that we're not talking about the things that we are not doing. Do you understand? There was a time that
Yeah.
a mother sent me a voice note of she's in a parents the school's WhatsApp group. How a mother sent a voice note of her son who was being bullied. Now, the person who sent to me her son is the bully. Do you understand? And I know, and she was like, Uncle Sele,
Oh,
help me, oh, Uncle Sele, help me, oh, Uncle Sele, help me, oh, Uncle Sele, help me, oh. I said, what's going on? She sent me the voice and I listened to it, where the other mother, who's, the bullied son's mom was
mm,
warning. And I was like, oh, this is embarrassing. And I spoke to them. I said, okay, let
mm.
me let me talk to your son. But I said first, I asked the question, what is your husband saying? That's the first thing I said. What is your
Yeah.
husband saying? Trust me, I didn't get to speak to the son. Do you
Mm,
understand? You heard Ebuka say
mm,
something. Is a
mm.
reflection. Is a
Of
reflection.
whatever
Even
is going on.
even when you ignore, even because you would have seen your son doing things like that. You'd have seen your son bullying his younger ones. But probably what you'd have done, maybe what you did is you beat the boy, beating, bass balls, as we always say. And the boy is looking at you, waiting for the time that you are not around. He's going to express himself.
Mm-hmm.
So we are our children will always become the advanced, the advanced
Advanced
version,
version.
the advanced version. They are the best copycats ever. So when you do things, they will do more than you. So when you even ignore, it's even worse. Because
Yeah.
when they go outside and learn, it's going to they will act on your own ignorance or negligence. Do you
Mm.
understand? And they will begin
Mm.
to destroy things.
Mm.
Do you understand? They
Thank
will
you,
begin to
sir.
destroy things. Okay,
Thank
let's go
you.
to Mr.
Thank you
David.
for that thought. A jaw of parenting. I'm going to come back to that conversation, but Uncle David is back here. Uncle David, you were sharing something before the network started. I don't know. I hope he's not. I hope he's a father that is holding the network now, so that he can hold it well for us. Go ahead, sir. Uncle David, can you hear us now?
Okay.
Uncle David,
Yes.
are you there?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, excellent. I'm so sorry about the network thing. It's unbelievable. It worked all through the morning and yesterday, and then all of a sudden now. Okay, back to addiction. I've given a little statistics of the number of our youth that is involved in addiction. And then when we had the International Boys Conference in May, we said something. We made a point that all of this addiction is sin. Addiction to drugs, addiction to pornography, addiction to masturbation, all of it actually is sin. And let's begin to call a spade a spade. Now, the principal responsibility of every father is to provide spiritual leadership. No child can experience a glorious destiny if that child is not deep rooted in spirituality. So, if a father, and I'm taking this from a totally different angle now, if a providing spiritual leadership to his children or to those who are underneath him, then he leaves that child open to the devil. This could actually be addiction, addiction to drugs, addiction to masturbation, addiction to all of these kind of things. Now, the father is the ordained priest over his family, is the God ordained priest over his family. And keeping, if he is not keeping that office of priesthood as it should be by providing good example for his children, then they are bound to go out and learn things that they should not learn. And one of those such things is drug addiction. The fathers must provide example. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6, the Bible says, "This thing that I have taught you in your heart, this commandment I have given you in your heart, you should teach it to your children when you're in the courtyard, when you're eating, when you're lying down." But then in the New Testament, in Acts chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "The things Jesus began to do
To do
and to
and
teach."
to
The
teach.
things Jesus began to do and to teach. The things Jesus began to do and to teach. So, exemplary lifestyles. You can't be watching pornography. I mean, Coach Ebuka said everything. I don't know why we even need to continue with this conference, because I think he has summed everything up. You can't be having extramarital affairs and you expect your children to do to live rightly. You can't be smoking cigarettes or drinking a glass of wine and you don't expect that at some point in time your children are not going to want to taste that thing. And it always starts from tasting. Addiction always starts from, let me just taste something, let me just taste something, let me just taste something. So I started by saying a father can be present, but at the same time neglect his responsibilities of fatherhood. So if you are present and you're not creating or providing good exemplary leadership, then you leave your children exposed to Satan to put all of these things, all of these sort of addictions that we talk about to get your children involved in all of these things. So it's one thing for us being a father to preach the gospel, to provide all of the money that needs to be provided. It's another thing for you to lay down good examples, because your examples, the principles you teach, the principles that you teach your family, it's not the principles that impacts them, it's the examples you lay down for them. So
Yeah.
the easiest way the easiest way to avoid addiction in our children is by parents, is by fathers giving or creating or setting good examples for the children to follow. Thank you.
Setting good examples. Setting good examples. Thank you so much, sir. I hope that we will still have you for a few more minutes on this conversation. Let me come to Mr. Ojobo. All right. That conversation I wanted to take you up on is where you started from. Um, the historical antecedent that we have as a society about fathers and what they are supposed to do in the family, the father's role in the family. Let's talk about that for a moment. Times have
Okay.
changed. Were we even getting it right all the while? Where we're talking about this whole source sustainer thing, and daddy is destiny.
Yes.
Roles of fathers at home in raising children and getting more involved in the lives of their children. We were having that chat a few days ago about how it is something that was passed down from generation to generation, and here we are in the 21st century where the mother is equally as busy or more or busier than the father. How do we begin to talk about this conversation about roles of fathers in the home?
Okay. So thank you very much once again. Starting from a historical point of view,
Mm,
as much as possible, one of the things I try not to do is I don't totally give fathers or give men a stick, right? Like
mm,
flog them over certain things that they are not doing. Because
mm,
if we're to look at behind at history, things that have happened, there is something that has led us here, which is
yeah.
the way we have adopted and adapted into a society that should suit us. So we have, looking back, we created a society that permitted it for, to a very large extent, permitted it for the mothers to be closer to the children, right?
Okay.
That was that the kind of society we created, so that the man's role is to provide, is to protect, right? And
Mm,
to a very large extent, that role has been played very well in many spheres, in many if you look at many situations, that role has been played very well. But now we are coming into a new dispensation. We are coming into a new climate or a new timing, right? Where
yeah.
we're looking back and we're saying, okay, what are the effects of some of the decisions we may have made based on the society we tried to create in past time? How relevant is it now? What effect is it having on the fruits, that's the children, right, who were products of that dispensation? So I will always say that for men generally, for fathers, for men generally, what we are now seeing in this time is we are now having to unlearn and relearn, right? And like I said to you in the conversation we had some days back, I said for many men, this is a crawling stage,
Hmm.
right? It is a crawling stage because this is not information that we are used to. These things that Uncle Sele is talking, Uncle David is talking, I'm talking. We are not used to these conversations. Do you
Mm,
understand? So
mm,
for many people, this is like a crawling stage. This is like a crawling stage for many of them. Having said that, right? It then becomes very important that we should, as men, to a very large extent, be open ourselves up to this information. One, I said this is new information. Another thing, we need to open up to this kind of information. But then in being open to this kind of information, you need to understand that you are fighting against strongholds, right? Talking about things like taking care of children, raising family, and all that. Generally, these are considered women conversations. So you won't just see a man just want to jump on conversations like this. So I think to a very large extent, we need to ease men and fathers into things like this. Do you get? Knowing that for many of them, it's an unlearning and learning process. It's an unlearning and learning a relearning process that needs to happen. Still, just jumping on one or two things that the other panelists had said, right? As human beings, generally, we learn by modeling. That's why I love the fact that when Uncle David was speaking, he was saying a lot about examples. And I'm someone who is really big up on model the kind of behavior you want to see, right? Don't just talk about the behavior you want to see. Model the kind of behavior you want to see in your children, right? That's one role that I think fathers need to play and they need to play very, very well. Another thing that I wrote here is that for okay, many times in my conversations usually tilt towards boys, right? So I said here that the home is his first place of emotional learning,
Yeah.
right? The home
Yeah.
is his first place of emotional learning. So we see to as guys begin to grow up, if you look critically, I think Uncle David will agree with me on this. If you look critically, many of the complaints that we make or that we have as regards the present generation of boys or the future men, many of it is emotional and behavioral.
Yeah.
Many of it is emotional and behavioral. It tells us that there is an emotional gap and a behavioral gap in the first place of his learning. That's his family.
Family.
That's his family. Where should he learn about how to handle his emotions? The family. Who should be the model? His father. Where should he learn about vulnerability? Oh, this is what I'm going through. This is not working for me right now. Not I'm a man, I have everything under control and all. Where should he learn about that? The first place is the family. So because he's not learning that within the family, he then goes out and his friends are like, okay, what do you do? So I'm jumping into something Uncle Sele said. What do you do when you are having an emotional breakdown? Okay, we go to the club, or we go have alcohol, or we go take weed. What do you do when you're having a financial, you're not having good financial moments? You look for anything that will bring in quick money. And there's something I wrote here. I said, as much as fathers can and should play certain roles, there are certain behaviors that can be explored from the outside. And many times, what that does is it comes to test the resolve of this child.
Child.
It comes to test the resolve of this son, of this girl. And I said here, but because of the daddy factor or the daddy information or the daddy discipline, there is a buffer.
Mm.
Do you understand? So when that
Yeah.
information comes, it meets something that it has to contend with. But
Mm.
then what happens when there isn't buffer, when there's no
There's
daddy
no buffer.
information? It's just easy access. It's just easy access. So you see the boy now bringing a strange behavior into the family,
Awesome.
bringing it into the
Okay.
family. Maybe that's what his siblings now learn from his father.
Okay. I think Mr. Jobber's network has gone to that side again.
Can you hear
Let's.
me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I think let me just go back a little. I said when those external information comes, it meets a buffer. But if there is nothing to withstand it, or there's nothing to oppose it, it's easy for the boy to adopt that kind of behavior. And then as a father, you see that oh, this is a strange behavior that it's been manifested in the family. And instead of us to move to the next level, right, of like to an extent behavioral change, instead of us to move to the next level, which is okay, let me be like, I'm aware. So there's first awareness. I'm aware that this is happening. I've acknowledged that this is happening. How can I support and help my son to overcome this and all that? Let me just throw this to the fathers who are here. Let me just throw it generally. Us as guys, to even us as guys, what what do you think your dad would have? Okay, not even your dad. For many fathers who are here now, let me ask a question. What will you do if you find out that your son is engaged in pornography and masturbation? What will you do if you find out that your son is probably has already started exposing himself to sex, right? Sexual encounters and all that. Now back to the explanation I was giving. Instead of us as fathers to move into the next step of behavioral change through influence, where we are coming to, okay, being this person's friend for the purpose of influencing a change of behavior, what do we see? We want to flog them. We want to flog them. We want to shame them, right? And in a way, that is also a form of learning, which says if you're doing something wrong, one thing, make sure you are never caught.
Yes.
And if you get caught, the only thing you are going to face is punishment, shame. So what do we do? What do we see? We see a lot of hiding. He's going through this, he does not want to say. I'm being bullied in school, he's not saying. This girl is hitting on me, which I'm not comfortable with, he's not saying. This auntie that is our neighbor, she's showing me parts of her body I don't like, he's not saying. And then we just see that that little thing has a huge ripple effect. Why? Because we are not guiding through that process of behavioral change. We are not we're not exposing them to the right form of emotional learning. I think
Wow.
I'm just throwing different thoughts here and there.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah, yeah. I
for
hear
other
you. I
for
hear
other
you. I hear you.
yes, other questions.
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear about that. Thank you very much for those thoughts. We have less than 10 minutes to round up this session.
Wow.
So I'm just going to come back with maybe my final question. But to the audience and those that are listening in, if you have a question, I've not seen any question. If you have a question, please drop it in the comment section. And I'm going to throw it up for any of our panelists to, respond to your questions. But as a way of rounding up, I wanted to ask Uncle David. I needed to speak to behavioral and emotional struggles with men and boys, but also I would ask the both of you, David and Sele, to do you even agree with the narrative about that we need to ease men into this conversation, is a new conversation and things like that. Do you agree with that? And then how do we bridge this gap? There's a gap. How do we bridge the gap? How do we get men to take up more roles in their children's life? But just as you take that, Uncle David, please respond to behavioral and emotional struggles with men. Can you hear me, Uncle David? Okay, Uncle Sele, let's take you while we see if David comes back to the show.
Okay. Okay. So there's something we need to understand. There's something Mr. Ojobo said, about easing men with this information. Now let me say something. You see, us as men, like you said, there's a way we've been doing things,
Yeah.
and we already have a defense. Do you understand? Now, for us who are in this mountain of family, do you understand? Is something that we know that, okay, no, we need to really tell men that, look, there's this thing that is lacking. But you see, for men who have been on the defensive for a very long time, so let me use being a soldier for example. If you come and hit me, with some certain things that I'm not used to, trust me, I'll throw you away. Which
Yeah.
is one of the things that we're also dealing with now. Do you
Mm.
understand? Because we go to men and say to men that, look, a lot of things are happening in the society. We need you to step up. And it's like, oh boy, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I'm making money. Do you understand? But you
Mm.
see, that's why Mr. Jobo is saying, talking about easing men into this thing. So it means that we also need to be very, very strategic
Yeah.
with the fact that we are saying to men that, look, there is a whole lot happening in the society, which is as a result of the mindset that we've had, for a very long time. It is not working anymore.
It
We
is not
need to
working.
change. We need to transform. We're in a new time and season. We need relationship. We need bonding fathers. Do you understand? And the father is saying, okay, so what do I do? Do you understand? So that's where he's coming from. That, look, if you come and hit a father with the fact that, look, man, you need to go and do this thing, he's looking at you like, even if he knows that what he's doing is wrong, because men, we like respect. So if you want to tell me something, tell me in a very good way that I will understand. Don't come and tell me as if you are lord over me. Okay, thank you, I'm not lord over you, but look, there's something that's happening in the society, and if you don't take time, your children will be affected. Oh really? What will happen to my child? Thank you very much. Look,
Mm.
your child has a 90% chance of doing drugs, of doing Yahoo, of getting involved in sexual immorality, of doing
Then they'll
so many
say,
things.
God forbid, Lord of
And you say,
Jesus.
God forbid, they say, Daddy, it's not God forbid matter. It's not God forbid. These are the things we need to do. Every time we do prayers for family, it's only women that show up. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Every time we do prayers for families, only women that show up. Every time we do, I'm sure having to do a conference like this, you are saying we are fathers, because we are supposed to be, well, fathers are supposed to be conscious of the effect of the vices in the society and run to conferences like this. But you will see that fathers will not come. So we
Mm.
are saying that what Ojoma is saying, we also need to be very strategic.
Mm.
Trust me, we need to. I do trainings for children. It is mothers that reach out to me.
Mm.
90% of the time is mothers that reach out to me. 90% of the time. I'm telling you the truth. Is the time that even the case of bullying I talked about, after I spoke
Mm.
with the father, the case died. We didn't talk about it anymore. Do you understand? A mother cried to me. Sorry, the light, please. Oh, okay. Can you see me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. And
Okay,
let's.
okay. The mother cried to me, said, please, I need help. The father didn't talk to me again. Do you understand? So you
Mm.
see that, okay, Popsy, how far? Look, things are happening. Because the truth is that things are happening.
Things are happening.
Things are happening. Boys are doing rituals, boys are doing things, boys are, doing a whole lot of things to girls. Boys don't respect girls anymore. Do you understand? They are
Yeah.
seeing what fathers are doing. Boys just want to drink and have fun and make money. They don't even understand process. So when I tell someone that, look, man, I can't do this, and they're like, you soldier, how? Do you understand? That's the first thing that comes to their mind. That, look, you're a soldier, you are from Bayelsa State. Are you trying to tell me that you don't drink, you don't womanize, you don't smoke? And I'm like, no, I don't do that. And I say, why? Because I'm a mother and mentor to a lot of children around the world.
True. True.
Do you understand? So I know what I stand for. And they're like,
True.
oh, really? So now, after a while, because I stood my ground, they'll now tell me things like, okay, Uncle Stella, I'll send my children to you. Then I now tell them that, look, you are sending your children to me. It's good. But
For
trust me, your
you.
child is going back to the house. If we don't
Yeah.
change the home environment, what Uncle Stella is teaching will
Will
just
be nonsense.
fizzle out. Do you understand? Ojomo
Yeah.
said something about, I think you said something about, our reaction to, the things that our children do that are not right.
Mm.
I was reading a book, and, I learned about the concept of the fig leaf. When Adam and Eve sinned and they covered themselves in shame, fig leaves, the first thing God did when he saw them was he made clothes for them. So you see, he's saying, don't stay in fig leaves. Fathers leave their children in fig
In
leaves.
fig leaves.
In
Wow.
fig leaves. See, the F, I wrote it down here. The F is fear. The I is insecurity. The G is guilt. The L is loneliness. E, escapism. That's where you find that where that's where we now get into drugs and all those things. Escapism, they
Mm,
find a way of escape.
mm,
Then you see A, anxiety, and F, failure. Everything Mr. Ojomo talked about it. That is what happens. That is what is happening.
mm,
That's what is happening. We leave our children in fig leaves. We leave them, we get angry and spoil everything. But we forget that God covered Adam and Eve cloth of love. The prodigal son, when he came, the first thing the father did, love. Then, while he's busy thinking, will daddy flog me? Will daddy did Daddy is saying, take the ring. Daddy is saying, wear the sandals. Daddy is saying, go and make asun and pepper soup for my son. He's back. There was love.
mm,
There
mm.
was love. There was love. Do you understand? So we need to stop leaving our children in fig leaves, because that is the whole concept of what is happening to our children right now. Everything a way of escape. They are anxious, they are insecure, they are afraid. They are afraid. What will this person say about me? Meanwhile, you are saying, look at who God has made you. God has made you well. You are handsome, you are beautiful, you are sound. You have a sound mind. I remember my daughter was always afraid. And I said, Uncle Sele's daughter, really? There's something Coach Wendy said. You can't train you alone can't train your child.
Yeah.
I spoke to a coach, talk to my daughter. Do you understand? When it came to things on sex education and everything, I have Cynthia talk to my daughter. When they finished, she came home and I started pouring daddy's words. Look at you. You are beautiful. Do you understand? Don't be afraid of anything. Do you understand? I built her self-confidence today. Trust me. My daughter will stand and talk. She'll come and meet me and say, Daddy, I did well, right? I say, you did fantastically well. Wow, high shake, high five and everything. She wasn't good in maths, but she was good in other subjects. And I told her, look, I said, look, Kiki, you are good in other subjects. Continue. We'll work on your maths. Don't worry. We'll work on your maths. But you see, the first time she felt that, maybe daddy will be upset with me. I said, daddy will not be me? I gave birth to you. Why should I be ashamed of you?
Mm,
I know you are not very strong here, but I will help you. Do you understand? And she will come
yeah.
and meet me and say, Daddy, help me. And I will say, come, I'm helping you. I will teach you this thing. That is what we need to do. Don't leave them, I'm afraid, insecure. They go to the room and sit down looking at the roof, wondering who loves them. No, no. Ojoba said everything. The way we react is
How will you
that
react? How will you
concept of
react?
fig leaf, we leave them there and say, you have done this, you are
Please,
in charge.
repeat that fig leaf thing. Somebody is asking you to
Okay,
repeat
somebody's
the
asking
fig
you,
leaf.
Meaning,
okay,
yes.
F
Yeah.
is for fear, I is insecure or insecurity, G is guilt, L is loneliness, E is escapism. Escapism, they look for a way of escape. Do you get? A is anxiety, F is failure. F is
Anxiety,
failure.
failure, escapism, and loneliness. I think that's the part that he missed. So I hope
Yeah.
that you have it now. Thank you very much, Uncle Sele. Thank you, Mr. Jobbo, for this time out. I'm going to ask you both to do your final thoughts on the subject. Daddy is destiny. Daddy is destiny. What will your final words be as we round up this session now,
Okay, so
Mr.
from my
Jobbo?
end, yes, I will say as much as there's a lot we have to say about how fathers need to get it right, there are a number of fathers who are already getting this right. So my
Mm,
call to them is that they become champions of change, right? And
Mm,
lead movements for fathers.
mm,
It's you can't just be raising your own child, right?
mm,
Lead a
mm,
movement for fathers so that
mm,
maybe by leading that movement, one person that your child will relate to will be the son of someone who is also getting it right.
Awesome.
That would be my last word.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
That reminds me of yesterday. Mr. Kyoko was telling us about communities, cultures, environment. So we can begin to get into building communities, and cultures that empower men. Uncle Sele, please, your final words.
Okay, my final words. Okay, let me just use what God told Moses when he wanted to kill Isaac. God said to him, drop the knife.
Mm,
Do you understand? He said,
mm,
drop the knife. And he pointed to the ram there and said, instead of killing your son, use that instead for the sacrifice. I'm saying to fathers, what this means is that there will always be times where you think that you need to really deal with your son with a knife. We are saying together, drop the knife. Learn, get information. Do you understand that there are better ways to do things, there are better ways to react. Do you understand? And love your children. Please love them. Love them. That's my final word. Love them. Drop the knife and love them. Thank you
Drop
very
the
much.
knife, love your children. Fathers, you've heard it from the TIP Fathers Conference panel session 2022. Love your children, drop the knife, build communities, become champions of change. Thank you very much, Saz. Thank you, Mr. Jobo. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Sele.
for having
And
us.
Coach Wendy is back on the
I
stage.
thought Uncle Saleh would say drop the gun. And he said, it's gun you carry, sir. He would have told us.
Okay,
You
baby,
carry
drop the
knife.
gun. Fathers, drop the gun. Drop the gun.
You don't carry knife, now it's gun you carry, sir. Please tell us gun so that we can be understanding it.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for this session. It was really, really impactful. Thank you, the ideal man thing. That was a concept that's very resonating. And when you were sharing, I remember when I started talking about parenting, intentional parenting. It was a lot of people resisted it. That should be 4 years ago. There was a lot of resistance. Right now, we're having thousands of people in the academy, and I tell you, it came with a lot of push. So like Celeste said, we need to have more men model, what it is, all right, which is one of the reasons my husband and I stood up, some few years ago and said, you know what, we're going to also show families how families run, with a father, with, the things that happen. And, we're pushing a narrative out there that families can run differently. All right. And, push a narrative that a father being involved doesn't make you less manly. I was saying something to a father recently in the academy, and I said, I've never gone to the market for back to school shopping. I don't know what it looks like. I don't even know where they buy school shoes. I don't know. So one of those days, my husband was supposed to be away, and I was supposed to go and buy a school shoe. He was describing. I still couldn't go. I had to wait for him. All right. The responsibility. I'm not on the school PTA platform. My husband is a full, member. It's his responsibility first. I don't pray more than my husband. I don't need to. He's first the priest and he's the one that leads the prayer. The moment he drops the ball of not being able to lead in the home, all of us too, we follow and be falling like that and be following him. That's it, because I understood very early that, some of this, and when the Bible said, when the Bible, God, calls attention of the people, he says, your father, the God of your father. It never says the God of your father. It talks about the God of your fathers, because it's the father. The father is the one that represents. There's little women can do. I'm speaking from, a perspective of a woman. There's just so much we can do. There's a limit to what it is that we can do. And we're not interested in taking a role of the father as a parent. We're not. I am particularly not interested, because the role is very hard. I can't even lie to you. I don't even want it. Where I am, my baby girl life, I don't want to be a father for any reason. All right. So we're not struggling roles. And if you're listening to me, it is your role as a father. Please stand up to it. I want to say thank you to Uncle Sele. Uncle Sele, this fig leaf concept, you are coming back to come and teach it now. You know that you cannot just come and drop something on us like that and just run away. It's not possible now. I've already started you on WhatsApp as we were talking. And you are just started and say, look at this one. You come and teach us. In TIP, we run for knowledge. As you're bringing it, we bring you. we're not ashamed. We want to learn. That was a great concept. That was, in fact, I've never heard it before. And I was saying in my mind, is that how you just learn something and then just turns everything around? And thank you so much, Ojobo, when you were talking about what happens, to the boy child, the emotional part and the behavioral part. What exactly transpires in the home. And these are the two problems that the boy child had. And of course, like I also said to Uncle Stella, you're coming back to come and teach us exactly how those relate and all of that, so that we can also learn more. We are very grateful. We do not take your time for granted. Funny enough, I've only met Uncle Stella once, and I've also met Ojobo once as well. But these are men that I respect a lot, that are standing up to change a narrative. We feel so blessed being connected to
Thank
the, I
you.
call them the TIP amazing men. That's what I call them. All right. The
Thank you
people,
so much.
the men who come to this platform to make these things happen. We are grateful to you guys. Thank you, Uncle Dozier. Thank you for moderating this session. I learned a lot myself. And I'm sure somebody is saying thank you. It's loaded.
Yeah.
This session was loaded and all of that. Oluwaseun Oshikoyo, I've seen you in all the sessions, sir. And I saw you write that you were a new father. Thank you so much for doing this. And thank you for following. Thank you to every father. Shout out to you. You guys are the real MVPs. I appreciate you guys. By
Thank
6
you.
p.m., we are back here and we're going to be listening to Chris Omar. Chris Omar is going to be talking about how to create a will and why you need a will. This is a topic many people don't want to listen to.
Wow.
But we've thought of it. A lot of women were taught how to, and then they were like, how do we even go back to these people? All right. How do we go back to these men and tell them you need a will? They would think we want to kill them.
Kill them.
No, we're no longer telling the women to come and tell you. We are now telling you, the father, why you need a will. All right. In the inner circle, what we call it is the exit plan. A lot of us are afraid of creating an exit plan, but you must create an exit plan because the world is not your own. All of us claim we are borrowing the world. We are all visiting. I also want to say thank you to David Folarami. David Folarami is a mentee, and working with him has been amazing. I saw him do drugs myself, all right, as a young man, and seeing him transformed and transforming lives is something that brings me to tears anytime I see him teach. He's also going to come back at the TIP annual conference. Just watch out for him. And where we've had an awesome time and all of that. And then we're also going to be having there are 2 sessions in the evening. Is it one?
Yes, there are 2 sessions in the evening. After Chris Omar, we're going to be having, we're going to be having Akin Benjamin in the evening also to talk to us.
Amazing. Akin Benjamin is going to be talking about discipline. He's the first person I saw talk about not hitting children. A man, wow. And Akin Benjamin has 20-year-olds, for your information. So he's experienced. He's a teacher. He's been a teacher for more than 30 years. He's a teacher. He's headed schools. He's done trainings for schools. He has worked in the school environment. So if you're thinking that, no, I must in the school environment, Akin Benjamin is here. If you're thinking, I'm a man, that's the only way to react. Akin Benjamin is going to be breaking tables. You need to be here to listen to those 2 men today. Chris Omar is the current advisor to the Kaduna State Governor and has been the Solicitor General of Kaduna State for a while now. And you guys, we've just brought you powerful people to listen to. Look at all these powerful men. Where do you get military men to come and be country? Where do you get consultants of businesses to come on? You guys should please make some noise in the comment section, please. If you praise us, we'll praise ourselves. Right?
I'm telling you.
We have to.
Oh my God.
All right, everybody. It's been an
Thank you
awesome
so
time.
much. Thank you so much.
Sarge. We'll see you again in a month's time at the TIP annual conference. And so for the rest of the audience, keep your tab, set your alarm for 6 p.m. tonight, and we will be back here. Thank you very much, everybody. Have yourself.
All right, then. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Coach Wendy, I greet you specially.
I greet you, boss. I am very loyal.
Mr. John, I greet you specially. Dozier, I greet you specially.
Okay, Sele. What is that?
Thank you.
Okay, someone is asking for the social media handles. I don't know.
Oh, please, can you
Okay.
please talk about so that you can follow them? I even forgot to announce that. Please share
Okay.
your social media handles so that you can follow this man. And remember that that's a payment you're giving them. I told you already.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Mr.
So I
Jomo.
think I will.
Mine is the Uncle
Okay.
Sele. The Uncle Sele.
The Uncle Sele. Is that the same for all the platforms? Instagram, Facebook?
If you just once you just put the Uncle Sele on Facebook, you just put Uncle Sele, you see.
There is only one Uncle Sele. There's
There's
only
only
one
one.
Uncle Sele. So go find
Yes, sir.
only one Uncle Sele and you will have him here. The Ideal Man Initiative, please share that.
Yes,
handle.
I just dropped mine in the chat box.
Okay.
At
Okay.
Ojobo Agbo, that's my personal account. Then the work we do at the Ideal Man Initiative is at the Ideal Man _in. At the Ideal Man _in. I have that in the chat box. Thank you.
All right. You can see it on the screen as well, and everyone keep following. That's your fee for being in this conference. See you all at 6 p.m. Have a wonderful afternoon.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Sorry.
My name is
before we-
Ebuka Ede. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a member of the inner circle of the Intentional Parents Academy.
Oh,
I think
Okay.
Ojobo had something to
yes.
announce.
What
to us.
I basically wanted to say was I wanted to throw it to Coach Wendy. Our conversation, our chats. Is this where you do it or later?
Oh, yes. So Ojobo is giving out 10 copies,
20.
20 copies of his book.
Wow,
I don't know
20,
how we're
yes.
going to give that out.
Wow.
I don't know who we are going to give it to. Okay, we're going to do some. We're going to, when the next session
Maybe
comes
later.
back, the first 20 men that logged in will get a copy of that book.
Wow, awesome.
For your teenage boy, yes.
For your teenage boy. It's a book for a teenage boy. Please,
So
if
now,
you don't
now you have a
teenage
reason
boy,
to come back by 6 p.m. We will check the people that have been here, or we cannot leave out the people that have been here since
Exactly.
yesterday. We will start from there
Exactly.
to distribute the books.
the first 20 people. Trust me, you want to be here. All right, thank you so much for that. Totally forgot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
All right.
My name is Ebuka Ede. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a member of the inner circle of the Intentional Parents Academy. TIP Inner Circle has been one of the best things that's happened to me. I have a daughter of 3. I have foster sons, that are in their teenage age, and even those that are above the teenage age. When I joined TIP last year, my daughter was still 2, and then my foster son, it was really tasking as I had a lot of things to do, my schedules, it was really clashing. At some point I was like, can I go on? Can I continue? I was like, okay, maybe I'll suspend it for another year. And I was just in the midst of that confusion last year. And when I came into one of the sessions one day, I haven't told Coach about it, and I can't remember what she said. I remember one of those sessions, after I had that thought, Coach was talking about having time. She kept saying, I have time to parent my children. I have time. It hit me. And I felt God was talking to me. And I told myself, I kept saying throughout that session, I have time. I have time to parent my children. I have time to parent my children. And I'm going to take this up. And one major lesson that I learned at the inner circle is that parenting is first about you. And I am first a father before I'm even a boys coach. And that is what God is going to really ask or require of me. How have I been able to raise my own children? I became intentional, attending classes, learning, equipping myself. I drew a structure. I was working with a structure, and that was one of the things we learned at Inner Circle, having a structure that works, having an effective structure, knowing that this time is allocated, these things are important, and I could see it playing out in my life and the way I raise my children. Last week, my wife told me, wow, I really love the way you parent, our children. I can see results, I can see transformation in their life. In fact, she said, I need to join TIP immediately, Inner Circle immediately, because I can see it working. Even before your child is born, you need to start learning. Even while you are married or even preparing for, you need to start learning. As a toddler, I learned a lot in connecting. I could see that in my daughter. She can connect, she can speak, she can identify her body parts, she knows what to do, she knows when somebody is going beyond boundaries. She herself understands boundaries. She knows that, oh, adult phones are for adults. Hearing the voice of Coach Wendy, the bishop, every day, it's just like God is speaking. The arrows just keep coming, and you are just awakening. Every session is an awakening for me. And people just tell me, how do you relate with this voice so easily? I just smile, and I know that what I'm learning from TIP is in sex conversation, is in connecting, is in building relevant skills. You could see the result practically in my children. You could see it even playing out in my own marriage. Just helps everything, realigns everything about you. And for me, I keep saying, Inner Circle is one of the best things that has happened to me. When I see the testimonies at TIP, I'm like, wow, I'm a living testimony. I keep saying we need to compile a book of our testimonials, and let the world see the transformation that we need. If every parent is in TIP, as in the transformation we need in the world will just happen to us if we are ready to do the work. I'm having a beautiful family, a beautiful home because I'm open to learning despite all that I know. And I want to implore every father here, we need you at the Inner Circle. Sometimes I wish every father can just be part of what is happening at the Inner Circle, because it's a 360 turnaround, knowing where you need to be involved and how, the tools, and there is no way you will practice these tools and not see results. It's not possible. It's no matter. It's not possible. You must see results. And the crisis we're having at home, the disconnection of children with fathers, a lot of women are doing everything on their own. And it's just so beautiful when both partners work together to ensure that the children are raised. There's just a difference. I implore every father to be part of this, to do all you can to be in this. You will thank me later and say, thank you, that coach, for helping me join. That's why I'm a coach. I'm training everybody. I'm learning because I cannot fail as a parent because I'm a coach. Thank you, Coach Wendy. Thank you, TIP. Thank you, Inner Circle. Thank you, fathers that are listening to me. And I want to see you at the TIP, at the Inner Circle next year. I want it to be a harvest of fathers, because we are rising up to make the change. Thank you.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts